we are going to learn that lines make shapes and that shapes make drawings. So let's first talk about the elements of drawing. Let me pick a better color here. All right, so we have line, we have curve, we have the angle. The angle is a sharp point there, and then we have the dot. Now a dot can be a bigger dot. A dot is simply something that's filled in. Okay, we can have repeated dots, and our dots can get bigger. But as long as it is filled in, it is a dot. It could be as small as a freckle on your face, or as big as a pea on your plate, or as big as the whole moon. Okay. Lines can be horizontal, they can be vertical, diagonal, they can be parallel to each other, or they can be perpendicular. Now they can also be thin, or they could be thick. And they could be dashed, like the lines in the street. Okay? Now we also have, let me get another piece of paper here. We have the curve. The curve is probably the most versatile. Well, the curve and the angle. We'll do two sides here. So the curve could be a rainbow curve. It could be a happy face curve. It could be really long or really close together. And if it's really close together and we repeat it, we call that a bumpy line. And it can be anywhere in between this guy and this guy, okay? Again, it could be wavy, and it could be thick or thin. So if I choose a thicker brush, and when we put those lines together, we create shapes and we create pictures. Okay, we can repeat them for a rainbow. We can alternate for a pattern. Okay. They can alternate, or they can repeat, rather. Okay. And the angle can do the same thing. The angle is a point. So it could be V, like the letter or the color of your shirt. It could be with the point up, like the roof of your house or a witch's hat. And again, it can repeat itself like a zigzag or some crunchy grass. Now, let's look at our lines and put them together. So I can make an angle and a line and put those together to make a triangle. I could make 4 lines to make a square or a rectangle. I could make 2 curves to make a circle. And we could make those into different sizes. We could make them longer and skinnier, or super pointy, like a gnome hat. So now we're going to put these shapes together to make a fish. All right, so we have our triangle, circle, rectangle, square, line, curve, angle, and dot. We're going to see which one of these the combination of these lines and shapes are going to create a fish. So I'm going to pull up a really simple fish image. We're going to start with a very simple one, this really cute little goldfish, okay? So you can see how we're going to perhaps make a big oval, and that would be made with 2 curves. So I'm going to put, let's do a curve, a rainbow curve on top, and a smiley face curve on the bottom. So we've got this oval, okay? Let's work with triangles next. We see a triangle here, or I'm sorry, an angle here. You see that point? And I see an angle here, and I see an angle here. I see an angle here, here, and maybe an angle, but it's kind of curved here, okay? So I've got an angle at the top. Make sure they connect. I've got an angle for his tail. I've got an angle here, here, and maybe an angle that turns into a curve over here. All right, so we've got that oval here. We should add a little bit here. Let's see what we can do there. We will just soften a curve in between. What do we have left? We have probably the eye. What is the eye? It's a dot, good. And then we do have a curve and a curve for his other eye, which is a circle. We've got a curve here. I do see this other fin here, a soft curve. And then do you guys see all this little texture in here? What are those? Those are repeated curves. Okay. All right, so let's go back. We've got the dot for the eye, a circle around it. We had a curve here, and then you can start making all your little curves. If you want them to connect, you may do that. If you want to do them individually, you can do that as well. Let's add one more detail before I let you go off to do your own. You see these lines in here, giving it a little bit more texture to the fins. If you want to change how thick you're making your lines, you can do that. When we have a pencil or a crayon and we want to make that thicker, we just kind of double up that line and fill it in. Or you could do it side by side until they are thick enough. A curve here and here, curve, angle, curve. I love these wavy curves. There's a line and a curve. I love this line in here. All right, so we'll take all that off. Let's start with his basic shape, which is 2 curves that make his body. Notice he has a little angle right here for his mouth. Okay, since we're over there, we can go ahead and do his eye and 2 curves around that connect to make a circle. we've got a first curve here. Now it's okay if yours does not look exactly like this fish. That would be totally fine. Let's go a little bit further back. And we've got a fin in the middle. So I see a curve up and to the left. I see an angle and then another curve. Okay. I see another curve that looks like it's underneath his fin. And I think we need to make his wings before we do his, or his gills before we do his last little curve here. So we're going to do a line. Not sure why that dot happened. And then we're going to come back with a curve. And it's okay if yours looks different. Totally fine. And then we've got 2 lines here to extend that out. Now this might be a little hard, so let's do it slow. We're going to do line, line, and then let's connect those two here with a slight curve. See, we're right here. And then let's go up, let's go out, back in really close to, and then we've got a little bump, and then out, and back in really close to. Now you can always use your eraser if you have one to fix that, but that's fine. We're going to color over it later. All right, let's make right about here. You can see is the next shape. So we're going to go down and back up. Kind of a soft angle there, or an angle with a curve. We're combining now. And now I've got right here, I'm going to do a line, line back up, not all the way, come down a little bit further with this angle and go back up. All right, looking pretty good. Let's finish with this line here. We're going to put some texture lines in there. We've got a band here we need to do, and then we'll talk about that texture. So here's the last line that's kind of decorative. Notice that it started at that top and came down here. Okay, we have straight lines, horizontal lines going across, and we've got some here. They kind of follow that shape. We've got 2 bands right here made with lines. And then you know from the last one you can add your curves. For your fins or for the scales. All right, finish up your fish, color them in, and we will share our work.